So you're thinking about getting the DJI Pocket 3, but you're really wondering, is it really worth an upgrade over the original Pocket? Well, I've got a side-by-side now to the Pocket 1, and they're both in a normal color profile. Face tracking is on both of these, and I will say that there is going to be a difference in the field of view. Now, both of these are recording at 4K 30 frames per second. The original Pocket 1 has a 26mm equivalent focal length on the lens, where the Pocket 3 has a 20mm equivalent focal length on the lens. So you're going to see a lot more real estate with the Pocket 3 than you will with the Pocket 1. But this is just in a vlogging scenario, face tracking on, just walking around. And by the way, let's do a quick little audio test. The Pocket 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Pocket 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And by the way, I'm not using the microphone yet. Actually, I'll save the microphone for a different video, because right now I just want to look at what the image quality looks like between the original Pocket and the Pocket 3. Take a look up into the tree, color of the sky. You know, it's really funny because with every year that goes by, technology really starts to improve tremendously, especially when it comes to image quality. Because I remember when the Pocket 1 first came out, 4K up to 60 frames per second, electronic 3-axis gimbal on it. It was the bee's knees, so to speak, if you're old like me. And then you look at the Pocket 3, and the image quality is so much improved. And you can go 4K up to 120 frames per second. But in a vlogging situation where you're just holding a camera and you want to be able to get a nice depth of field, because you know it does have autofocus on it, you don't have to worry about a fixed focus lens like with an action camera. It really begs the question of, do you really need to get a full-size camera anymore, considering everything that you can get from these small cameras today? It's quite amazing, quite amazing. And then as I walk into a shaded area underneath the patio cover, you can see a dramatic difference in image quality. My face on the Pocket 3 still seems to be exposed correctly. The Pocket 1, the background's completely blown out now. And as I get back into some sunny area, it's really funny because on the Pocket 1, my face looks really overexposed right now. And a lot of people talked about the Pocket 3 being having a tendency to overexpose. So far in my initial testing with the Pocket 3, I don't have that problem with it overexposing. But I don't know if it's because I've got a latest firmware update. Don't know. It looks pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Okay, now we're comparing the original Osmo Pocket 1 to the Osmo Pocket 3, and what we're doing is we're looking at their flat color profiles. So the Osmo Action 1 has Decent-alike on, and the Osmo, did I say Osmo Action? The Osmo Pocket 1 has Decent-alike on, and the Pocket 3 has the D-Log M. So dynamic range wise, can we see a difference between the two? And let me get the sun right here behind me, just to give you a little rough idea of the dynamic range of the flat profile of both of these. Okay, so now we've got the Pocket 1 and the Pocket 3. I've got it on top of the back bed cover of my pickup truck. And yes, it's going to be a little bit blown out behind me because it's trying to expose my face. But I have face tracking on right now, and I want to be able to see how fast that the face tracking is with the Pocket 1 versus the Pocket 3. And the nice thing about having face tracking, and you see the Pocket 1 just lost me because I moved a little bit too fast out of frame. But the nice thing about having face tracking is that it can track you, and it's like having a second cameraman with you without having a second cameraman. So it gives you the ability, or affords you the ability, to kind of move around and not have to worry about walking out of frame. Kind of curious about, let me take this off of face tracking on the Pocket 3 for just a moment, because I want to look at focus. So the focus seems to work really good on the Pocket 3, and I know that Steve WB had made a comment regarding the shallow depth of field with the blurry background, and if it was actually a true blurry background or not, or if it was something that was maybe like an iPhone where you can get that portrait effect where it blurs out the background. Because he said something about my beard. You know, I'm starting to get some gray hairs in it because I am old. I'm about to turn 60 here pretty soon. But I want to do a quick little test just to see if there is some internal processing that helps with the blurry background. I don't believe so. I really think that it is just the autofocus and the ability of the aperture to, since it's a f2.0 aperture on the Pocket 3, that it has that ability once it focuses on me to blur out the background naturally like you would with a larger camera. But let me test that out real quick. Okay, so we're going to test the aperture and the blurry background, that nice depth of field. So right now it's focused on the bricks of the house, and I'm going to slowly slide out. I have it focus on the background and back onto the bricks, back out to the background, halfway. Let me put my hand up. This should focus on my hand. And what does it do with the background? So I can tell you that even though the Pocket 1 was such a great camera, and I used it probably, when was the last time I used it? Out at Scarborough Fair. And I was still impressed with the image quality that was coming out of it. But I will say that the Pocket 3, the image quality is much better. And yes, 1-inch sensor is going to give you that ability. And a lot of people are really stuck on megapixels because, oh my gosh, you got to have 24, you got to have 48, you got to have 64 megapixels. At, was it 9.4 or 9.6 megapixels on this 1-inch sensor? Gives you larger individual pixels that will gather in more light. That's why the Pocket 3 is so good in low light. And we'll do a low light test on the Pocket 3 versus a bunch of other cameras. And I may even throw in the Pocket 1 for giggles, but that'll be in the next video, a nice low light test. Tell me down in the comment section below, which one did you prefer? The Pocket 1 or the Pocket 3? Are you thinking about getting the Pocket 3? Did you order one? Do you really want one? I can tell you with the test that I've ran on the Pocket 3, it's making me think more and more and more that the Pocket 3 may just be the camera for the majority of the people to get, because you got 3-axis image stabilization, you've got a nice 1-inch sensor, you got very good color profile, you got a very nice flat D-Log M if you're in the color grading, 4K at 120 frames per second. You've got a lot of advantages, and you can still get that nice blurry background, and maybe you don't need a mirrorless camera anymore. Because I can tell you, you take the Sony ZV-1 or the Sony A7 IV, A7S III, and you try to go vlogging with it, and no offense against Sony, but their image stabilization, even on active, is not that great. And even if you run it through Catalyst Browse, then you run the problem of cropping in on that image so much. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind. Pocket 3. Yeah, it may just replace a lot of mirrorless cameras out there. It might just be the perfect vlogging camera.